Alright guys, so after Android Studio is finished setting up and preparing your project, you're going to have something that looks like this. And if you have an error right now, then I know what error that you're getting, so I'm going to show you guys how to fix that in just a second. But for now, I just want to warn you guys, even though it looks kind of overwhelming, trust me, this is set up perfectly for making apps in about 7 tutorials or something. Once we cover the entire interface, this is going to feel just like home, and all the stuff that feels overwhelming right now is actually you're probably gonna find it very useful. But for now, I'm gonna mention a couple things that are gonna make your life a whole lot easier. The first thing is, if you ever want to access that SDK manager from here, then what you do is you go up to this little thing. It kind of looks like the little, I think his name's Andy the Android. It looks like he's sitting in this bucket with a down arrow, but this is the Android SDK manager. So click that, and again, you don't have to close out of your entire project to open up the SDK manager anymore. And I actually want to show you guys one more package that I forgot to tell you guys to install earlier. So if you open up the SDK manager and you scroll all the way down, then make sure that you have this package installed right here. It's the Intel x86 emulator accelerator, and again, I installed it already, but it takes like 2 seconds to install. But what this is basically, whenever we develop these sample apps, what we're going to do is we're going to run those on pretty much emulators, or they're pretty much like little virtual phones that we can use for testing, and those are kind of slow. So that package just helps speed up the entire process and makes it run a little bit smoother and faster. So if you guys wanted to know what that was, there you go. If you didn't, well, sorry for wasting your time. But that's how you get to the Android SDK manager from here. Now another thing that I want to do is mention this. A lot of you guys probably have an error that popped up that says, okay, I can't find the Android SDK, or I don't know where the Java JDK is. You got to help me out because Android Studio won't run how it's configured right now. So if Android Studio has a problem finding either of those things, then go to File and go to Project Structure, and then from here it says, okay, the Android SDK location is where. And actually, if you see, like, I think if you get an error, it shows like some red text or something. But in order to navigate to it, if it's not set up correctly, just click these three little dots on the right hand side, and then you can say, okay, you obviously aren't looking in the right place. This is where I downloaded my Android SDK. And the same thing with the Java Development Kit or the JDK. Make sure that the directory ends with the JDK in your version number, and make sure that the Android SDK ends with SDK. So again, if you downloaded it to a different directory than I did in the example, then you're going to have these errors. So that is where you fix them, depending on wherever you downloaded it. So mine is correct, so I'm just going to close out of that. And I probably should mention this as well.